I feel like saying this one last thing. Uh, I want to talk about how some people's issues are so deeply rooted, and a lot of times those deeply rooted issues is coming from their mother, their father, whoever. It's coming from when they were a child. But I'm gonna tell you something. I really want to speak on the mother because that is something I'm just most familiar with in this case, and siblings like a brother and stuff like that too. If you're trying to, I will say the word heal, but if you're trying to overcome some of the negative thoughts and stuff and a lot of deep seated emotions and some of what I realized just in myself is that a lot of the fear that I thought I had, a lot of the stuff that I thought was going on with me was a projection from my mother. A lot of this stuff that I'm feeling and all this stuff the emotions and stuff did not come from my own personal experience. It came from my mother's projection. And the problem what I have with mothers of my generation is that they don't feel the need to apologize. They feel like you have to take whatever. They're the biggest. I heard somebody else say this, so I'm going to repeat it because it sounded right. I forgot who the heck's. Oh, okay. It's this lady that was doing an interview with somebody, and she was talking about T.S. Madison and stuff like that. And she was talking about how the boomers, because she was talking about Oprah and stuff like that, and she was talking about how boomers are some of the biggest narcissists. And when I heard her explain it, I can agree that because they have been through so much in their life and they had to just suck it up, they feel like they can do anything, even if it's beating you with an extension cord, even if it's taking a doggone pole and just knocking you upside the head. They will literally feel like you need to take it because I grew up this way, and so you need to take it, right? I don't know if I would call it. I don't know if I want to call it that exact word. They don't necessarily know they're doing wrong. Was I'm gonna say my mother. Let me just say my parents were doctors, though. Like when you have parents for doctors, listen. You probably learn better than the people who raised you. Okay, you weren't just a housewife who had to raise your kids and you didn't get out to experience the world. No. So I feel like when you have a parents that's in a profession like that, whether it's a teacher, whether it's a doctor, whatever it is, she worked in corporate America. I feel like at that point you know the difference between right and wrong, and you know a lot of medical terms, you know a lot of psychological terms, and if you know how to behave yourself in front of other people and make yourself look all sweet in front of other people, then you know you're wrong. Now, people who don't change up their behavior in front of other people just the same way, they might not have self-awareness. They might not know. But I want to get back to talking about parents of my parents' generation. A lot of times, and I'm speaking for myself because I'm not like a master at what's going on with other people. A lot of the deep-seated stuff, like fear, people say, well, you shouldn't have fear, but you don't understand. It's not that I won't fear. The person who raised me had too much fear, and the person who probably raised her had a lot of fear. This is passed down generationally. It's not like I chose to have fear. I realize a lot of this stuff that's been going on with me and the feelings I had is coming from somebody else's insecurities. But it's not just her projecting. She did very negative things. She did some very, very negative, low down things. Okay? And I'm going to say low down to the point where my life would have been at risk. I had to stop seeing her, stop seeing my family, that part of my family, because I started to realize that was when my gifts was starting to come up. You know, I was reading cards just for myself. I didn't read cards for other people. I just read energy cards and stuff like that for myself. And I asked a question: what would happen if I went back down to my hometown or went back to my family? What would happen? And I saw like disruption. I saw all kind of bad cards. And then I spoke to somebody else, and she said, if you go back to your family, you're going to die. They're going to kill you if you go back to your family. Okay, at that point, you don't want to try to make it work out. Don't try to make it work out. And that's why I stayed from my other family members, because they were going to constantly keep asking me, have I talked to them? Why won't I talk to them? Your only life is too short. I hate that life is too short term, because I get what they're saying. But at the same time, if somebody has really bad intentions for you, your life is too short to be around people who don't have your best interest at heart. Your life is too short for that. You're better off getting a puppy. You're better off getting a kitty. You're better off getting a rabbit, a squirrel, a bird, anything that's going to treat you with more respect than a person who is called your mother, but they don't have your best interest at heart. Because a lot of this stuff, 9 times out of 10, I'm just speaking for myself, but 9 times out of 10 with other people, especially, I'm just going to say women, but just people in general, because men too, right? More than likely, a lot of the stuff, deep-seated stuff stuff they have going on, is coming from their doggone mother or father, but mostly from their mother, especially in the Black community, mostly from their mother. And that's why I feel like a lot of mothers get blamed for everything. I don't know about the white community. I have to see with the white community, because I used to be in groups where I was only, colored person in there. And I would see a lot of white guys that was upset with their mother, the same way Black men upset with their mothers. I would see a lot of white guys that were upset with their mothers. So mothers play just a big role in their child's life. I don't care even if both of the parents are in the house. Mothers really play a big role in their child's lives. But I just want to feel like saying that really quickly. Sometimes it's just really best if you're trying to work on healing, or whatever you want to call it, overcoming. I think I want to say the word overcome. If you want to work on overcoming something, right? Releasing something, it's best not to be around the people who it's like you're putting fuel to the fire. It's best not to be around people who are going to constantly put fuel to the fire. You're trying to put the fire out, and then you go back to the people who keep putting fuel to the fire just because they're called family. And so you never, ever get out of this situation. I'm going to be honest with you. I think it's time for me to get out the United States again. I think a lot of us need to just take a little time and get out the United States of America. I did that a few times, and it helped a little bit. I think some of us need to really get out of the United States of America and go somewhere different. Because I just feel like I need to change domes. Like every place that you go has its own consciousness. And I want to go to a place where it's more laid back, where it's not capitalistic. I just want to go to a completely different type of consciousness. A place where it's like the simple life, where, it's not going to cost that much if you go to an area where it's simple life. But it'll be higher in vibration. Because people, when you're in an area where it's not all about getting the money and getting the bag, people are less deceitful like that. And so you're on more of a love frequency when people don't have to be worried about money all the time. They live a very simple life. They don't care about the materialistic things in life. They don't care about running to the bag. And so you're under a higher frequency where people have more of a love for each other, because it's not about competition like that. And so sometimes I like to change up and go to places like that, which is time for me to go. It's time for me to get outside the United States. It's time to change up and get out of the place that you were raised in. Because I feel like it also has an impact on your shadow. Your shadow, I feel like, knows everything that you dealt with in the place that you grew up. So if I grew up in the United States of America, and most of my experiences and everything that's in my shadow is from me growing up in the United States of America. When I change and go to a place that's completely different, a completely different doggone vibration, atmosphere, everything, I feel like that changes up stuff that's going on with the shadow too. But that's just me. Anyway, that is it, and I will talk later.